Well, because they have the numbers, the MAGA right wing of the United States Supreme Court has decided to go back after Obamacare, the Affordable Care Act, something that survived a challenge a number of years ago when Chief Justice Roberts sided with the more moderate wing of the court and kept the Affordable Care Act, Obamacare, and its financial mandates that funded it in place. But now, at least 5 members of the United States Supreme Court, and I can guess who they are, have decided to take up the appeal by the Biden administration concerning the Fifth Circuit's ruling that certain preventative care that needed to be provided at no cost pursuant to Obamacare, whether that's constitutional or not, having been challenged by a bunch of right-wing Christian organizations that don't, in their words, want to pay for health care for homosexuals. I'm Michael Popak. You're on the Midas Touch Network and Legal AF. Let's dive into this case. Anytime the United States Supreme Court tries to throw open the hood and monkey around under the hood of Obamacare, I get worried. Here's how we got here. Another Texas two-step. A Texas judge, Reed O'Connor, who was appointed by George W. Bush, but has been reliably a Trumper MAGA judge for a long time, hates the Affordable Care Act, has tried to overturn it a number of times, was involved with the original case that went to the United States Supreme Court, those many years ago, to try to defund and therefore throw out Obamacare. I mean, Obamacare is based on mandatory payments and funding that keeps it alive and mandatory coverage that keeps people healthy. As part of Obamacare, there is a committee that has been formed, the U.S. Preventative Services Task Force, that makes recommendations about what preventative care needs to be provided at no cost because it helps keep down, A, it saves lives, and 2, it keeps down healthcare costs by having preventative screenings and other testing to avoid future major medical problems in the future for people. Sounds like a good thing, but not to the right wing and to the Christians. So they don't like many aspects of it. Let me tell you what it includes. Mandatory coverage right now that's being challenged is a prenatal testing, heart, contraception, HPV, sexually transmitted diseases. I mean, these are all things that I think normal people can agree is good if you catch them early so that you're not paying for them late and jeopardizing lives, but not to the right-wing Christians. They're being led in the case that started in Texas and ended at the Fifth Circuit. Again, the Texas two-step to try to get MAGA policies push through the United States Supreme Court, changing our lives. We see a time and time component requiring, again, no cost screening for all of these things. Why? Because listen to the lawyer that represents the Christian organizations. I'm sure they're phony. The Christian organizations and plaintiffs in the case, Jonathan Mitchell, the architect of the 6-week abortion ban in Texas, said that it violates the religious freedom of his clients because it facilitates homosexual behavior, their drug use, and their sex outside the marriage, which he only defines as between a man and a woman. See, they don't even recognize gay marriage or any other type of marriage. So he doesn't want anything in there. STDs gone, HPV gone, even though this task force has recommended that this is not only saving lives, but is saving hundreds of millions of dollars in costs down the road. You either handle it in screening on the front end or you pay for it in the back end. I thought it was a bad thing to have our healthcare system be reliant on poor people going to emergency rooms. I thought that was a bad thing and the purpose for Obamacare and the social safety net, but not to these radical Christians. The other lawyer that's representing the plaintiffs in the case that now the United States Supreme Court has decided to take up is Gene Hamilton, who worked in the first Trump administration and now currently works at America First, that kind of phony law firm that's run by Stephen Miller, soon to be a White House counselor for Donald Trump. So that's how we got here. That is the issue at stake. Now, the Fifth Circuit, which is the reliably Trump circuit, more cases come to the United States Supreme Court out of the Fifth Circuit than any other circuit, almost combined. And we have 12 circuits. Why is that? because that is the Achilles heel of our federal court system that the MAGA try to exploit with the Texas two-step. File in Texas, hope you get Reed O'Connor or Kaczmarek, Matthew Kaczmarek, one of the two judges in Texas in these kind of single judge districts, have them rule reliably for you and for Christian values and all of the rest of it and against women, and then go to the Fifth Circuit, which leans heavy right, so right that two members of the Fifth Circuit, Andrew Oldham and Stephen Ho, are both trying to get, and they're doing tryouts for the United States Supreme Court if Donald Trump has another opening. That's how right-wing the Fifth Circuit is. It leans considerably right, so you're bound to get a ruling there, maybe a national injunction against all of these items. That's what's going on now. And then the United States Supreme Court has to weigh in. And they pressure the United States Supreme Court with hand-picked people. Let's be frank. There's always been
statement. With his too much for the patriotism fight, apparent lukewarm regard for Geneva conservation and contempt of Washington power structure, he was the perfect avatar for the tear it all down second term that Trump craves and hexed and Iraq and Afghanistan war veteran posed as change agent with dust on the boots who was ready to give the Pentagon a rigorous check in his mission. He joining working class populists in mega movement who want to take a hedge to a government they think he has gone woke and failed them. Democrats came out swinging hard as Hexeth highlight his controversial background, arguing he was utterly unfit and lacked experience to run the world's most lethal military and the military industrial complex. I have voted in favor